Hi everyone. I'm holding my phone different, so it's hard to know where to look. I've just finished watching the Elon Musk, the Nelk podcast, the Elon Musk um, edition, and it was as interesting as I thought it was going to be. Um, so basically, I'm just going to give you a breakdown because it's 3 hours and 12 minutes. So I'm going to try and give you a little breakdown, just for speed, if you don't have the time or the patience to watch it. If you do have the time to watch it, I'd thoroughly recommend watching it. I watched it in one go, and it's been live for I think 9 hours. It's already got 1 million views. So I watch all of these podcasts because they just seem to get the best guests. I watched the Donald Trump one in its entirety, and that was removed I think within about 6 hours. So anything that has the potential to be like demonetized or anything like that, you should watch them quickly, because they could possibly be removed like the Trump one was. I watched the Andrew Tate one last week. It was quite interesting. Right, so he starts off by saying non-violent drug crime should not be punishable by imprisonment, which is, he's 100% right. And when you hear it from someone so hyper intelligent, it's just a way of keeping the people at the bottom in order, isn't it? And then they talked about psychedelics and mushrooms for a bit. Not the fact that he had used them, but I think we have quite a similar mindset in this, in the terms that he has. He's quite openly come out and he said he struggled with depression, and I'm not sure if it was bipolar one time. So yeah, he's very human. He's very considered, and yeah, it's basically he's just a human at the end of the day. Right, so 50 minutes. He starts. He's talking about moving civilizations in the event of World War III, meteors crashing into the Earth, or super volcanoes. Yeah, it's very interesting to hear from such an intelligent person. It's also quite worrying. So, a lot of these notes, I've made a lot of notes because over the course of, well, hopefully the future, I want to learn more. I'm quite well learned anyway. I find interest in it. I don't like to be sat idle, and I think your intelligence is something that you always need to be honing in on. I don't like to be stagnant, or sometimes you try and keep your mind distracted, and he goes into that a little bit further on, but I'll try and decipher. I put an M for my thoughts and E for Elon Musk's what he's saying. So he talks obviously a lot about space, SpaceX and things like that, and he's saying, how far are we away from getting to Mars, and are we doing it? Are we going back to the moon? And he's basically just going through how Earth is sustained. So I've written things like wheat, cotton, vitamins, minerals. You would have to take materials for building, etc. And he seems to think that it would take at least 1 million people to inhabit Mars with any kind of success. Space lasers. He was talking about space lasers. They were talking about, what if aliens came? What would you say? And he said, "Oh, welcome. Please don't kill us." And then he said, he would ask them if they understand English, because if not, it's just a waste of time. But he said they're making space lasers. They kind of said it jokingly, but he said they're going to be ready for the end of the year. So nobody said anything after that. I was thinking, what are these space lasers? We need to know more. Right, so, and then he was talking about probabilities, certainties, consciousness, philosophy. All of these things are very interesting areas. And if you don't understand what these words mean, or you don't research into them, maybe you should. You can find out a lot about yourself. Yeah, it's very, very, very interesting. Right, let's speed on, because I don't want to be doing this all the time. I want to, for a long time, I just want to kind of give you guys a nice recap. So then he went on to saying about how the world is underpopulated, which is quite a surprise to me, because obviously babies are being born all the time, and war and natural disasters, they only take so many people. Obviously places that he said, like the infant nappy to adult nappy ratio in Japan, and I've known about this for a long time. Japan, their population has been rapidly declining for, you know, the last maybe 10 to 20 years. So I believe that's why he has 9 children. He kind of comes, he thinks that more brains equals, you know, more solutions, which 100% it does. But then there's a potential for more brains equals, you know, more greed. And that's my thought of it, because not everyone is a good person, but generally I think that's okay. And then I think Salim said about, you know, the child support fear. I pay child support. I never thought I would be in the situation where I was. I don't mind doing it, but you're paying it to someone that's destroyed you. And obviously I've only got 1 child, and I think 1 is more than enough, and I can focus all my efforts on her. But the people that have, you know, countless children, and they're paying, you know, massive amounts of money, they're just the people that don't learn. But obviously some people want bigger families than others. Talked briefly about crypto. He seems to like Dogecoin. When I speak to my dad about crypto, he's not massively into it. But he kind of said Dogecoin is like a meme coin. But Elon said you can purchase things with, you know, Tesla products with Dogecoin. So it was quite interesting. Neuralink, brain chip. So they've created this chip that goes in your brain. I think I don't know if it's in beta, but he said by the end of the year they're looking to implant it in people like quadriplegics, because their life, that there's a risk versus reward. If these people, he said, you have the chip implanted, and these people will be able to call a telephone number quicker than a person can dialing it, because they just have to think of it. You know, he said they've already trained a monkey to play Pong with its mind. That's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Again, quite scary. Well, if you're like a layman, which most of us are, we're normal people, we take what we're given. We see the news. Some people, you take it with a pinch of salt, and other things are entertainment. Some things are propaganda. But these things are very, very interesting. Then I move on to things that he does in his free time. He said he enjoyed Elden Ring on the PC. I've never played it, but people that I work with have, and they said they really enjoy it. And on Netflix, he said he likes Vikings and I think Lost Kingdom. I haven't watched either of them. I think my parents have watched Vikings, and they said it was very good. Putting Steam in Tesla, possibly in beta. So they're trying to figure out the autopilot on the Teslas, because it's not fully automated. I think you can put it on like semi autopilot now, but they're looking to put Steam in there, so when it is fully automatic, you can play all the games on Steam and watch movies whilst you're being chauffeured around by your car, which is, you know, it's pretty wild, but it's really cool. And he's saying the cars have the function to do that already, but I just don't think it's quite there yet. The internet is full of information. You can earn anything for free at any time. Very true. We used to have to go to libraries. If you didn't have a library card, you can get information. So that's why the world is becoming more intelligent all the time, which is generally a good thing. But the more intelligent you are, obviously comes with problems. Yeah. So Polytopia app. I'm not too sure what this was. I might have a look for it. I think he said it was like a simple game. I think this was probably one of my notes. Learning. Free time should be spent learning. Learning is fun. I spend too much time. I do spend quite a lot of time learning, but I think if you were to give me, you know, the opportunity, you always go for the one that you get instant gratification from. Like they asked him why he's not on Instagram, and he said it's just like a thirst trap, which it is. You know, he said he took a few selfies, and you end up just thinking, like, why do I care what these other people think? Like, it's almost like a self gratification. I can't think of the word, but it's like self importance. I don't know. And he seemed like a very down to earth person. That is one of my own thoughts, and that was to do with the world being underpopulated. So I'm gonna try and create a video at some point to talk about the difficulties and also the joys of being a single dad. So stay tuned for that one. If you are a single father, or if you know any single fathers, because when I was going through my troubles, you know, becoming a single father, and trying to wrap my head around the fact that I was going to be a single father, which I never envisioned. I couldn't really find any real examples or any real help. So I think it's important for me to put that forward, because it's a very, very difficult time in your life. And as you can see from me, I'm, you know, thriving, and I'm happy, and, you know, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. But that's one of my own things. They talked about cloning animals. Do they think humans are being cloned? He said he was unsure. But cloning animals, they had Dolly the sheep, and they've got services where you can clone your dogs now. So if you have a poodle that is, I guess, elderly, you can take the DNA, and then once your dog passes away, they can just make you like one that's a spitting image. I don't know. It's very, very strange, and it kind of makes me think about imposters and stuff like that, especially with humans. But that is the direction that the human race is going. There's so much that we don't know, and I think it's probably best that way, because otherwise you will drive yourself mad. Like I saw an interview the other day, and they said to Elon Musk, they said, you know, what's the best thing about being Elon Musk? And he said, you don't want to be me. trust me. So I think that's probably just because of his workload, and he's a workaholic. But by the sounds of it, he does watch Netflix, and he does play games, and he does have downtime, and that's good. He said it's on one of the other pages, but he said that he plays video games to control the demons in his mind. You know, it's like a dimmer. When I get in from work, I'll turn Fortnite on, and Fortnite is a lot of thinking, but it can be quite stressful. But obviously, if I want to chill out, I'll just play a more chilled game. I'll play pubs. Obviously, whereas competitive is a little bit more focused. He said he entered a Quake tournament. I think that's probably on PC, and that was one of the first esports events. And he said he actually came second, so they actually earned his earnings. He's got better earnings at esports than I have, which is interesting. He said it wasn't much, but if you're a billionaire, what is not much? Right. Right, here we go. Yeah, plays video games for entertainment and an escape. Religion, agrees with Christian teachings, not religious. I think like most people, the majority of people on Earth, and they said, do you believe in a higher power? And he's the same as me. It's of course there is. Otherwise, why are we here? Why is the sky blue? Why are buildings buildings? Why can we build buildings? Why is there material for things like this? And everything would be a question otherwise. You know, it's no accident that we're here. Talks about hydrogen gas. I've got to research that. He doesn't gamble. He said he takes enough risk. Where am I at? 17 minutes. I've got like 2 more pages, and I'll try and wrap this up in under 3 minutes. So, you know, it's made 3 hours 20 minutes. I don't think that's bad for timing. Memory tricks. He said, in order to remember things, it must have meaning. It has to be relevant. Yeah, of course. That's why when people are doing tests and things like that, they will, you know, the dog jumps over the fence. They'll take the first letter of each word, and they'll put it. They'll make it as a word, so it'd be like TGIF something, for example, and you would give it another meaning, and it just helps your mind to retain it. We've already talked about that. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. He said he thoroughly enjoyed that book, and it kind of alleviated his existential. I don't use that word often. Existential crisis. There's been times in his life where he said he just he questioned whether there was meaning. What are we here for? Is there any reason? What would happen if he wasn't here? Things like that. And it's, if you haven't had those thoughts in your life, then I guess you just don't think enough. Then they're not the greatest thoughts to think, because it's just a constant question, and it's difficult if you ask questions where there's no answers. You know, you can drive yourself mad. Victim, perpetrator, truth. Every situation has that. Everyone's truth is different. That is true. He said the sun will eventually destroy the earth if nothing else does. The sun is always expanding, and it will burn. It will boil the oceans, which is quite scary. Obviously, he seems pretty calm about it, so I instantly knew it was not going to be in our lifetimes or our children's lifetimes. I think he said, you know, possibly 500 million years, which is really good. Cost of going to Mars, 100k to Mars if 100 people went. So 100 grand is what people would have to pay if the cost of the trip was $10 million. He said it would take between 3 and 6 months travel time, and that Earth and Mars only align every 2 years. So you would only be able to go at a certain time, and if you were to visit, you would have to obviously stay there for 2 years until Mars and the Earth realigned. He said it was 4 light minutes from Earth, and I've put speed of light, so I'm going to research that. You know, it's interesting, the speed of light, the speed of sound. I put a little note here to myself: research Twitter deal, Twitter versus Musk, court case. Also things to research. I want to research the Iceland volcanoes. I can't remember what year it was, but when they went off, all of the flights in the UK, I think we had like a week where all the flights were grounded because they couldn't see through the ash. They couldn't see through the ash, so we had no flights for a week, which is pretty much unheard of, especially as far away as Iceland, because the wind was blowing the ash. Russian meteors, not just Russian, but Russia seems to get their fair share of meteors. I want to look into that. The Ice Age, he said it was like a rabbit hole. You look into it, you find something else, something. Wikipedia, Encyclopedia Britannia, he said. Right, we're almost there. I think that's pretty much it, actually. Yeah, that's pretty much it. So we've done it in 21 minutes. If you're still watching, thank you for watching. I'm gonna start reading more books, and I think I'm going to start doing recaps. And these books are quite intellectual books. I've got a book on parenting. I'm currently reading a book on media law. I'm going to get a Warren Buffett book, and there was another one by, I think it was called the Rights of Man by H.G. Wells. I don't read enough. I think it's just so much easier to put Netflix on when you're tired at the end of the day, but that is lazy, and I've been lazy for too long. So thank you for sticking with me. If you found anything interesting or you found me entertaining, please smash that like button, and sub to me so you get my videos pop up straight away. And let's try and break into this algorithm. It's so hard, but you've got to start somewhere, and hopefully with a good thumbnail and the right tags, I can reach more people, because I think I think I want to connect with people. I don't connect with enough people, and we're only here for a short time. So yeah, have a great day, have a great weekend, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.